There's nothing quite like that third cup of coffee in the morning. Maybe a ninth cup of coffee in the morning, but I think that might go a little far. But anyway, good morning. Welcome to the Pretty Picture Party. I'm Taylor, the artist behind the Ellis deck tarot and the tarot of the Starbound Phantasia. And today we're going to talk about the Nine of Cups. This is a card that usually evokes some imagery of like a jolly dude, maybe a hedonism bot type character, somebody that is, throwing a big party for everybody and making sure they all enjoy themselves, but making sure they enjoy themselves most of all. But what we're going to do is have a look at the Ellis deck. We're going to have a look at the Tarot of the Starbound Fantasia. We're going to see how those are different. I'm going to talk about why I made them the way I did. And let's get started. We'll get kicking with a little astrology first. The Nine of Cups relates to Jupiter in Pisces. And what do we know about Pisces? That's definitely a watery, emotional sign. I'm a Pisces moon, so I can say that and hurt my own feelings in the process. But Jupiter rules Pisces, so Jupiter is like a king in their castle. This is, make yourself at home. This is somebody who is comfortable wherever they go. If we think about it like a person, if we think about it like an event, we would think of something where there's fresh fruit and caramel candy for everybody, pony rides, maybe like that birthday that whoever threw it went into debt to throw it, but it's enjoyable, it's a good time. It could be the idea of like oversharing a dream you had to somebody that only asked you how your day was going. Um, it's kind of like you're just so comfortable in who you are that you might even make other people uncomfortable because they aren't ready to deal with that level of authenticity from you. Um, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that I've known a lot of people that come across that way, and they usually that amount of cups is gonna issue in some growth. It's almost inspiring. You're like, why shouldn't I be like that? Why can't I be comfortable in my skin? And then you're like, oh yeah, the shame. But there it is. So the elemental correspondence for this card is pretty simple because it's the same elemental correspondence as all the cup cards, excluding the court cards, which have their own little special bits. But this card is water. All the cup cards are water. And in kind of my research for an I Ching correspondence to this card, it brought me back to the same one that we talked about for the moon, which is water over water. Uh, and we're getting soggy here, but water over water is again the abyss. And you know, uh, even though we talked about it with the moon, the I Ching is brilliant in its flexibility. And it's almost like you take a word like cool and you're like, well, does this mean, cold temperature? Does this mean somebody that's easygoing? Does it mean Cool Ranch Doritos? But when we take it and if we've got 10 court cards, not 10 court cards but 10 pip cards to describe that way, we're on number 9. We'd say, well, what is kind of the like a culmination? What how would we look at that I Ching hexagram of the abyss with culmination? And I think that it helps if you look back to the previous card, the 8 of Cups, where we've gone on this journey to the unknown. We've either kind of like gone abroad or we've gone within. We've taken ourselves out of our comfort zone. We've addressed an elephant in the room, or we've abandoned everything that we thought was important to us because we've either outgrown it or we've over nurtured it. But we're coming back. We're back with keychains and T-shirts for everybody from Banana Land or something, and what we're going to do is we're going to share that with everybody. We're going to feel kind of that feeling like you just came back from a vacation before you forget you hate your job again or something. And you really do feel like you're that king on top of the world. Um, you definitely you know yourself a little better. You've taken yourself out of context and come back. You are like I said, maybe oversharing a little bit. You don't you don't maybe have as much of a uh like grit to do something. You're like, it'll get done. In fact, one of the pieces of advice from the abyss is that maybe letting go of your goals at this time is actually important to achieve the goal. That ambition is not the driving force that you think it is. It might actually be hindering you. So the first card we're going to talk about is the Ellis deck, Nine of Cups. And looking in here first, let's start with this happy dude in the middle. Um, he is representative of that part of ourself that has recovered joy, um, has been through a lot. By that point that you're, at the nines, you've kind of run the gamut of human adventures in terms of emotion. And maybe as far as like the hero journey, you realize that that it was the treasure was the friends you made along the way. But here's our merman. He's a little hefty there. He loves his chips. I love my chips. And he's comfortable in his own skin. He loves who he is. If we look at the top of his head, where we do have a cup resting, we see that he has either this purple cap, or just the top of his head is kind of this purple color, and that's meant to represent this open crown chakra. He's open to the divine. He knows what is beyond him, what he can't do or care anything about. And in a way, that's why he's got his hands up in the air. And speaking of the hands, we see that he has these pink coral bracelets around his wrists. And the pink color in this deck is meant to kind of represent psychic energy. And so this psychic energy is also rising upward. There's a level of receptivity that I think that you're able to have when you're kind of this level of happy. And so speaking of like the Hote Buddha, or like he has a lot of names. One of them is the Maitreya, or the future Buddha. And this was the Buddha that's supposed to come along after kind of a period of darkness, where civilization has forgotten a lot of its graces. It would be like it's supposed to be after the teachings of the Gautama Buddha have either been cast aside or forgotten. Like, you know, you would look at like a time like now where everybody is kind of forgetting manners or how to be courteous to each other. And he sort of shows up as a new packaging of that. And we see in the cups, there's these little seahorses. And in the story that I wrote for this, this is the part of the story where these seahorses that have been gone a long time, this guy went away and he came back and he brought the seahorses back with him. And it's this moment of, yay, they're back. And what are the seahorses for us? We would look back at like the Page of Cups of this deck, where it's like the self-discovery, where we look in and we see, I find little Taylor there. Like we have our like little self, our pure self, the you know 5 and younger, when we haven't been shamed into being the cookie cutter, the banal conformist version of ourself that's going to do well in public school, and wear a lanyard and get a job and all that stuff, but also not old enough that our pure self is kind of an id driven jerkatron. But regardless, they're coming out of these cups, and each of the little cups has a little smile on it. And it's just kind of like a big energy in this card is like, don't worry, be happy. And it's a medicine, it's not a diet. I think this is the card that Crowley calls debauchery. And I think that it's, yeah, like Mae West is like too much of a good thing is wonderful. And there's times where we need that. There's times where we really do need to over enjoy things a bit. And that's not always the case, but when it is, it hits. A little bit more talking about the colors of the card. We've got the blue water at the bottom. Water is blue. He's this blue being coming out of the water. It's this emergence of our self, the emotional self, taking form, and the yellow sky in the background is representative of our solar plexus chakra, our third chakra, which is kind of where this confidence and our inner strength comes from. And if you don't feel good about yourself, that's very hard to come in contact with. And then up in the sky we have the sun. It could also be the moon. It's either way, it is a heavenly sphere. Its light is shining down and he is receiving it. He's exalting three cups. He's holding three cups up. That's a little bit of a nod to the Empress. It's also a nod to the Three of Cups. This guy is like the Three of Cups on steroids. And then in front of us is the Six of Cups. And again, when we talk about like that return to innocence, or like the Lover's card, he just love comes out. His love language is making sure you're having a good time. Nextly, on our Nine of Cups journey, we've got the Starbound Phantasia Nine of Cups. And as you can see, they are not the same kind of pictorial narrative artwork that you see in the Ellis deck. The Starbound Phantasia has a little bit more of a cryptic nature. The pip cards are more pippish, but there's still a story to be told in the image. And so, looking right off the bat, the first thing we see is that I've had a lot of coffee and my hands are really shaky, but we see nine identical cups. And this is kind of stating a constancy in our personality, that Jupiter in Pisces of really knowing who you are comes forth in that we are able to put forward a consistent ego for others. While we still waver and we still have, our moments, we know who we are enough that we don't waffle in the face of making decisions, or we know how we feel about things. And furthering that solidity, that confidence, the vines that each of the cups are resting on are fully grown. They're almost branches. And that's kind of this material confidence that you have. And that's indicative in some of the other imagery that's going on here. But what I kind of meant by that is that there's a certain level of material fulfillment that almost has to take place to kind of reach that Nine of Cups. You kind of have to be able to acquire the stuff that makes you feel good. There's feeling good about yourself, and then there's feeling good about yourself with a 44-ounce soda and that big bag of chips, and your favorite music playing, and getting to spend 6 hours on your favorite game, something like that. Um, like I kind of said, there's a bit of hedonism in this card. And what we see with the cups and what's inside the cups are these red grapes. It's like this cultivated treasure. Like thinking back to like the Nine of Pentacles, where there's enjoying the fruits of your labor. This is the feeling behind that. This is how good that feels, how good we make ourselves feel. We did good. We see that there's kind of these golden sparkles rising up from the grapes. And again, we're talking about kind of I don't necessarily like the phrase, but like prosperity gospel. Like you probably have confidence in your beliefs at this point because you've done well. So obviously what you believe in is true and is helping you, is very oh man, God's got to be on my side because I'm doing awesome. Like I said, the Nine of Cups can almost be a little too much. And like I that that attitude is a little cocky and can be off-putting to others sometimes. The background has this yellow and orange color again that yellow and orange. We could think of that as almost like the second and the third chakra, both kind of this energy coming down and filling those up. And so we're feeling good, and we're feeling good, and we're also feeling strong about ourselves, and we're receptive to it. And you know when you have an image like this where you don't see a character, it leaves it up to a little bit more interpretation, and that was kind of my intention, is that the reader could use that with the querent. Sometimes the querent's the reader, so the querent could use that themselves. And like the I Ching, where the meaning is a little bit more flexible, we don't see the happy dude here. Maybe we are the happy dude, or maybe what we need to see is that there's like a little bit too muchery going on. Ultimately, the Nine of Cups is good times. Um, 1 through 10 in the tarot is a journey. And you can confuse like the 9 and 10 with the reaching of a goal, like that was the point of a journey. But I think that it's important to envision this journey as a circle. We're going to be back around on it again. It's like an hour on a clock. And so trying to say that would be like saying, oh well, 9 minutes is the best minutes in 10 minutes. That makes zero sense. It's just kind of where you're at for a period of time. And so that's, there's kind of like this idea that the energy of this suit builds. And since it's a concentrated element, you do get to a point where it is too much. With the Nine of Cups, you don't want to be laying it on too thick. You shouldn't be going out and bragging about how good you've got it. It's like when you're broke and you put on that hip hop song, and this guy's talking about how he's riding on two Beamers like they're roller skates, and he just puts money in the garbage. Um, that's real off-putting when you're feeling bad. And so sometimes there might be a warning to read the room there when you're getting the Nine of Cups. But you've been on this journey like the Eight of Cups and come back, and you've got stories to tell, you've got riches to share. If you're feeling that joy, spread it around. We sure had fun today, didn't we? We had like a hit like and subscribe level of fun today, didn't we? Anyway, if we hit like and subscribe, that's cool. That's a great way to support somebody making videos, and it doesn't cost you any money. And that's all I'll go into on that. Other than that, if you'd like to look at what I'm up to, please go over to illustrations.net. If you want to buy one of the tarot decks, the Ellis deck or the Tarot of the Starbound Phantasia, let's visit Big Cartel. It's illustrations.bigcartel.com. I've got a Spreadshirt shop where I've got some 8x12s up. If you'd like to get a print of any of my tarot cards there, you can. If you'd like to see one of their other products with my prints on it, hit me up. Tell me what you'd like to see. I'll make it happen. It's not that hard, but I don't want to fill the store up with stuff people don't want, so they can find what they like. Other than that, until next time, thank you again for watching. Happy reading.